Hello and welcome. Today I am going to be painting a steam train in the snow, going down the tracks. I had someone requested it in the comments, and I thought it sounded like a cool idea, and I thought it would make a good snow painting. So while I'm on that kick, yeah, I'm just gonna give it a go. For this one, I'm gonna start with a kind of like a liquid, very light red though, like almost like pink white, for my base coat, and then I'm going to be working the lighter and the cooler tones out from there. This picture has some pretty strong contrast, but also some pretty vibrant colors in parts. So I think it will be interesting. I think that, yeah, I don't think it'll be a super complex one to create, but I think that it has some interesting bits here and there, and I think it'll be a pretty picture. So yeah, I'm just gonna get started, I guess, and I'll share what I'm doing as I'm doing it. Alright, so I'll start out with this one. This picture has a lot of atmosphere with all the steam, and then also just kind of a slightly foggy look maybe to the cold weather in general. So I think that I'm gonna try and keep this one fairly liquid for quite a while, so I'll be using a little bit of linseed oil and a little bit of solvent in this layer. Snag some white, a little bit of cad red light, maybe like a little more than that. Let's see what that looks like for color first. I'm gonna dull this back a little bit, but I always enjoy this combination. It stays pretty hot. That's fairly good. Let me add just a touch of alizarin too. Yeah, I think that's gonna work. I'm seeing this color kind of on the edges of the furthest trees, and then also a little bit in the highlights on the red of the train. So I think that it'll be a good color to have in there early, and then sort of work on top of it and add definition in various ways. That's the theory anyway. That solvent's a little messy. I'm gonna actually add some of my lavender oil instead, or in addition, I guess. Try that out. And a bit of linseed oil too. I am working on a wood board for this one. I think because the train, I generally prefer the boards on images with a lot of geometry. And this doesn't actually have a ton, but I figured it would give me just a little bit more sharpness there, so that's why I picked this. I also find the wood boards are a little bit nicer if you want to put a lot of wax on, just because it gives it a little bit more structure to push against. Just holds that extra weight a little bit more than the canvas. So I'm just gonna mix this up. Just want to get any lumps out of it. Get it all nice and smooth and mixed together. That goes on as one material. It's funny how it kind of finds a point where it all just mixes together. Just like it was always mixed. quite a pink. I think it'll work. All right, let's see. I'll grab a brush. Wet that a little bit. Managed to get some little lumps in there somehow. I'm not quite sure from where, but it'll work out. Like whenever you have an image that looks like it doesn't have a lot of color in it, it's okay to just add some. Also, this has a fair amount of color in it, but it also has a lot of areas that seem a little bit homogeneous, and I think for my interpretation of it, I'm going to try and bring in a little bit more variety than what the picture has. Something that, as I've been practicing more and more, I like to observe things in real life. I like to look at pictures. I like to have something real to sort of anchor what I'm doing onto. But I also feel like it's good to know when you can make changes and what works and what doesn't work. Now it's pink. Okay, that's fun. Wash out this brush. Take this opportunity to get that little blob off my palette. Go on the brush wash. Everything in this, all the solid paint falls to the bottom, and then you can pour off this cleaner into another container and then clean out all the gunk and then reuse the cleaner itself. For the most part, it doesn't really go bad, which is kind of nice. Soapy, actually, would be kind of how I would describe it. Kind of like a shampoo. Some more colors in. Let's see. I'm deciding right now if I want to start with things that are furthest back or if I want to start with the darkest colors. I think I'm going to start furthest back. Yeah, I think for the way that the atmosphere looks in this, that's going to work out the best. Sometimes I like going from dark to light, but I think here, just furthest away. So I'm going to start with kind of purpley gray, a darker gray than I've got going on right now, but not too dark. Yeah. Use a little bit of that too. So I'm going to do a little alizarin, a little viridian. Let's see where I get to with that. Still very red. Grab a little bit more green. And you'd think that this would make brown since you're mixing red and green together, but it's not what they do. They kind of make a purple. I think it's because the alizarin actually has a little bit of blue in it, which is why it's not like a red. It's looking actually fairly close to what I want. It's actually a little bit on the dark side still. Grab a little bit of white, mix in here. Okay. I'm going to start with my furthest trees back. So I'm going to just sketch them in kind of nicely. It's kind of a nice thing about doing this wet with a knife is you can rake these really sort of gestural shapes here. And I've also got this steam here. It's got kind of a similar look to it. Start shaping that in a little bit. Some of these lights I'm going to end up building up some wax after, but like putting in a little, some gesture to start with really can make a difference. I might train in about here, though. I'm not gonna worry about that yet. I'm just gonna keep my paint nice and thick, knowing that I'm gonna go over it. I'm gonna just put in this little hillside here. Not because it's even this color, but just because I kind of want to start to have a layout, and I feel like this color's not really going to cause me any trouble. Let's see, I've also got some trees back here. Just kind of the outer edges of them. Tip into this color. And then for the darker one there. Something nice about just working with a big knife like this. Can do a lot. Some of these like scratchy little lines. Just kind of hinting at branches that are really far off. I can detail some of these a little bit more later, but I just kind of want them in place for now. Got my tracks are going to be right in here. Make a slightly bluer version of this color. want to go too crazy with this, but this steam in this area is kind of backlit and very dark. Do you want to start? I'm just kind of laying it in so I can see it. Maybe another color that's kind of in between here. Okay, slightly greener version. Let's see. Just looking at a few trees. I don't feel like I have to get these well really defined by any means, but I just want to kind of see them there. I'll actually end up getting quite a bit darker, I think. Here, I've got a little bit of burnt sienna. I'm going to put in a little bit of raw umber. Maybe mix that a little bit into this purple. Just kind of fill in this area. I've got some sort of scrubby little plants here. I like that effect a lot right there. There we go. Okay. Try and get my perspective pretty right, pretty quickly. Worried for a second I hadn't started the camera. I feel like I've been moving pretty quick on this one so far. I like tend to move a little bit faster at the beginning, and then it takes me a little bit to get things into their right place. I'm trying to get this shape fairly quick, but not worried about getting it perfect. And I've got wet paint, and I can refine this. That's okay. Yeah, it just looks like a box on rails, but you know, it has a place. All right, let's switch knives. I'll switch to this round one for a second and just flatten out the steam a little bit here. More round looking. To start. And here I'm just adjusting some of this texture as well. Some of this just to get the paint not to sit too high. Like this is being a little bit rougher in the foreground, but as this fades back, I want it to be a little bit softer. Got kind of a similar situation here. So there's a lot of contrast in it still. That I don't necessarily need. Coming together. Okay. Now, really good to get in the habit of putting my knives back in the same spots, having some way of organizing them. All right, so for this back here, I've got a green gray. A little yellow, a little bit of yellow ochre in that. It's not quite like a teal viridian color. train because it's kind of a good starter train in a way because it's not, there's not too much, there's a fair amount of detail, but there's not too much. So it didn't give me a chance to try out some different things. I feel like if I get a few of these planes right, it'll come together. Kind of, it's actually a bit similar to like the boat paintings that I've done. I thought it would be fun. All right, that's pretty cool. It's gonna have, got some steam or some fog kind of coming out from under the wheels here, so there's not, I don't need to get all the way to the ground here. Bit of a light area. Then we've got this like door, I guess it is. Probably on the side of the engine. It's kind of cut out. It's a little bit darker. It won't get fully dark here, but I want it at least to be darker than the things next to it. Using a little bit of phthalo, a little bit of alizarin, a little bit of viridian. And I've got the light plane that comes across here, and a dark plane that is sort of like the windshield. I don't know if that's the right window anyway. Let's see. And then I've got something that comes out to about here. Kind of blocking these things in as I go. Okay, and I've got a little bit that goes up. Another little bit that goes up some more, and another little bit that goes up even more, and it's starting to look like something. That's kind of cool. Okay, got a round area here that I'm gonna need to do, but I'm not gonna do too much with that yet. I just want to start to, I might have to come up with a good way to sort of cheat this shape. I might use a different knife. This knife is not the best right for making circles, but for now it'll do. Take a little bit more phthalo, a little bit of alizarin, kind of moving into a warmer dark purple for some of these lower areas in the front. Okay, that's starting to work. Okay. A lot of little details in this area that'll be really fun to paint. I want to get it in there pretty well without getting the paint too thick, so that way I'll be able to work into it a little bit more. Do this little, I guess it's a, I don't know, it's not really a bumper on a train. I should learn some other words for these varying things I paint sometimes. Though I did learn the word schooner from my sailboat painting, so that was good. I'd heard it before, obviously, but I didn't really know the two-masted ship thing. So I'm sure someone will be able to tell me more about what sort of train this is. Let's see. I just picked it for the snow in the picture. And then along this side, I've got this a little darker, a little bit more toward the alizarin side. So got that. I've got perspective of this is kind of intense, because if you think about it, this is probably about eye level here. Just trying to get and I've got a little bit of phthalo, some white. It's all looking a bit blue right now. It's probably actually a little bit more black than blue, but just kind of working with the colors that I see. Because I am working on top of a wet layer, I can only be so accurate because all the colors are going to mix a little bit anyway, and they kind of will fade out. They'll tend to fade a little. Let's see. Just getting the generally right things in here. I love that little bit of red I got in there, but it's not gonna really hurt anything either. Starting to look train-like. I don't know if it quite looks like a train yet, but it's looking train-like. dark shadow under here. Shadow is much larger than it will ultimately be, but I feel like since I'm smearing wet paint right now, I'm gonna probably go over a lot of this with wax. I'm just kind of taking the opportunity to put some of this dark in. They'll end up being like sort of shadows and whatnot in this fog slash steam. Okay. Clean this little line up from earlier. The nice thing is using a knife, you can sometimes take some paint off and put some paint down. Got options. So the other thing is I've got this. Now that I've got this kind of laid in a bit more, I can work on my steam a little bit more too. This isn't overall very dark. It's just, I think where it's the thickest, it's blocking out more of the light. Notice as I got up higher, it sort of took on more of a warm, almost red color, so I mixed in a little bit of my red here. switch to a smaller knife for this. I thought about cropping in a lot closer to the train on this one, but I liked how the height of these trees was framed in, and so I brought it in a little bit compared to the picture originally, but not too far. In a way, I wish I had brought it in a little bit more, because I think some of these details are going to be a little hard to get at with a knife, but give it a try and we'll find out. Ultimately, the details aren't really what makes the painting anyway, so if I get enough of the other things right, it won't really matter how tiny a mark I can make. Let's see. Try and get a little bit of this dark in here. When everything's wet like this, you have a lot of power to blend, but you have to be a little careful too, not to have everything slide everywhere. As it will sometimes try to do that. In there. to kind of flow right. Probably end up going over all of that, but I just want to have it as close as I can for now. I'm gonna get a little bit more of this darker green for some details on the car behind it. Let's see. Some windows. Kind of a line there. This isn't really a hard edge here because there's more that continues. So just kind of rough that up a little bit. Okay. A little bit more. Dark there. Actually, that's slightly in the wrong place. Let's move it a little bit. Easier to do while everything's wet. Okay. So what I kind of did there was I just pulled the knife down as I'm going toward the horizon line, which the horizon line is also always your viewpoint too. So if you're looking at this, it's kind of your eye level is also the horizon line. So as I'm doing that, I'm pulling the knife down toward it, and then I'm going up toward it as well here, and straight. So it gives me that shape for those cars. Just makes the paint sort of flow. Like if there are lines, they're correct to the perspective. Do a little, it's almost like a yellow paint color on the bottom of these. It's a bit strong, but I'm just gonna kind of dash it in there. That's starting to look good. I feel like once you get some of these sort of thick detail edges, whether they're darks or lights, it just starts to take shape. There we go. Try that. Some sort of round headlights I'm gonna have to work out here. Kind of just try scratching that in with the tip of the knife for now. This maybe just pull a little bit of paint off with the brush. I'll wait and put a color in for these, but I'll wait until paint's dry, I think. They're not lit up in my photo, but I might light them up for this. Yeah, I'll just touch a couple other details while I've got the brush here. Smoothing out a couple of these areas where it's a little hard to get with just a knife. Let's see how we like that. Okay. And I've got some plants I want to work on, some details. I probably do want to start getting my darks in. I'm thinking about letting this dry relatively soon, not working too far into it like this. I think I might actually dash in some more darks. Unless I wait and I do some of the darks and wax next. I might actually do that. I think I'm going to just brush in a couple of spots where I see darks I definitely want to have kind of laid in. But again, I don't want to get the paint too thick either. Because I want to do most of the texture with the wax, I think, in the next layer. So just kind of dashing in some of the darkest areas of these trees so that they're kind of waiting for me next. That's decent. Those are layered in. Could do a little bit of the same over here. There's also some kind of similar little scrubby plants over here. Again, I'll probably end up covering a lot of this up when I do the snow, but I think just sometimes having these marks sort of pre-established gives a little bit more texture to it later. And once I do the snow with the knife, it'll unify all of this, even though some of this is brushwork now. I'm gonna do a little bit here, just to, I don't want to take out all the darkest darks of this, like overblend it, but I do think having a little bit of this smoothed in will be nice. There we go. That works. And we'll cover up that little line there that doesn't belong. It'll be fine. Just having the hint of it there is good though. Just kind of creating this shape. Funny trick, I didn't know you could do that. You can kind of pull the paint off with a brush too. The brush clean enough. Learn something new every day. All right. Trying to soften this area a little bit here. I don't want it being too distracting. Okay. Nice, okay. I'm gonna give this a bit of time to dry up now. And I'll come back and work on some more details and put in the snow. Really just hopefully light it all up. So, all right, I'll be back in a minute. All right, and I'm back. I'm just gonna keep working into this one. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep working into this. It's pretty well set up in all the thin areas. Some of the areas where the paint's a little bit thick, it's still a little bit movable, but stacked up pretty well. Gonna start mixing up some wax. Start working into the snow and the sky. Should be a lot of great shapes here. Yeah. Let's see. This wax has been this has been sitting out for a few days. I'm gonna start fresh. And as I'm kind of getting this out, I'm just taking a look at the picture overall. I'm thinking about where my lightest lights are. I think they're mainly in this foreground area here, and then also in some of these bits of sky and in the steam above. And then I've got some snow in the trees, which isn't quite as light actually. It's a little bit softer. But coating some of the branches. So yeah. Okay. Let's start with that. I'm going to start by mixing up some wax with some white, and I'm going to do a very slightly yellow, thinking. I want this to be very subtle, but just for this lower sky area. I'm gonna grab just a little bit of yellow ochre, maybe. Let's see. Oh, I've got a fresh pile here. Let's see. Let's see how bright that is. Just want it to have a little bit of a golden glow. I think that looks still quite light. I think that'll work well. Just mixing that in with the wax. I'll probably work from mainly one pile of this and then shift the color as I move it around. I'm going to start just bringing it in a little bit over here. Gonna smooth this out, but I also want to leave a little bit of texture kind of at the edges of this. I like how it starts to hint at these trees. Just little bits of light that might be popping through there. Kind of the same idea with the edges of the steam as well. Kind of smoothing that out. Okay. Got a little bit more up here as well. as I come across, I'm noticing that it is still a little bit golden, but almost shifts a little bit cooler as well. Gonna hold on to this and let's see. I'm gonna cool it down just a little. Try just a touch of Meridian. This is probably too much, but and then grab just a little of that, mix it into my yellow, maybe a little bit more. When I painted these, I knew I kind of wanted to come back over this and let the sky kind of glow through, so I actually painted them a little larger than what I was looking for in the final. So let's see how that works out. And then I've got in some of these lower areas, both in the steam and in this hillside, I've got a different white that's maybe a little bit more purple. I'm gonna grab a little bit of alizarin. This is gonna be somewhat similar to my first layer, but just a little bit more vibrant, I think. That is much too vibrant though, so let's mix in some of this. I think even a little bit of blue. Let's see. Probably overdoing that one a little bit. Okay, I think that's color's about right there. Now I just need it to be a bit whiter, so add some more white in. A bit more wax too. Okay. Put this in really softly first. I think there'll probably be some areas that are a little bit lighter sitting on top of this. It's a bit funny because it's almost like a sort of a shadow on the steam, which is kind of glowing. I don't know. It's a bit of an odd thing that's happening here. But I think in some of these very subtle, sort of overcast bits of the hill, bit of this further back. Sky color shading in here. Let's see. This one gets even a little lighter. And I'm planning to scrape away a bit at some of these areas and re-reveal some of these darks. Just trying to get a little bit of wax on top. I'm not even applying very much pressure because I don't really want it to embed itself in the board too much right here just yet. Alright. It's coming along. I want to make it's a cool white. It might actually just be white. Let's try that. Use for some of this. Here I've got, this is kind of a nice detail. There's some snow that's kind of drifted up onto the edge of these tracks here. So it looks nice and straight along the top edge of it, but on the side I've got some little drifts. Try and work those in. I think it might work. Putting a couple of these sort of bright pink highlights here. Then I'm gonna just cover them in. Kind of gives the impression of some of these plants. They're poking up through the snow. Starting to have the right feel there. I want to get this feeling of this snow having drifted a lot. I like this effect here. Okay. It's just like all these little pieces of grass and bramble and stuff. There's some snow kind of caught on some of it. I kind of re-reveal this dark underneath. To take this tiny little knife and just work out a little bit of this shadow here. Tracks almost disappear, but not quite. All right. Coming along, okay. I'm gonna fix a couple little things with the train, but I wanna wait on that. I actually like it for the most part, but I think there's a couple details I can just improve upon. So I want to get the snow into these trees. I think that it will be a nice detail. I'm a little tempted. I'm actually thinking about mixing up a little bit of dark wax. Maybe not. Let's start with the lights and see. I can always go over them again if I decide I want them a little brighter. So here I'm just gonna start putting in some marks sort of the way I see the snow falling on the branches. Not worrying too much about getting this 100% accurate, just kind of looking at the shapes that I see, putting them in. Branch that's gonna hang in funny over here. Actually might switch back to this knife too. I think it will just give it a bit of a rounder look. There's even some snowy branches that are basically almost all the way to the ground here. And they're just really weighed down, I think. Let's see. Bring down one more little peek in here. Okay. Just use a little bit more light. There we are. Okay. That's a good branch. I like this little shape I've got here. It really just feels heavy. Maybe with lots of snow. Okay. A bit more of these. So I go a little bit further back. I don't want to have them quite as defined. Some little bits. quite as bright as I'm getting back further either. So I'm going to go a little bit this more blue purple. Less now. Let's see. I'll bring a little bit more light into the steam as well. I really don't like to make a habit of like touching paint, but I kind of thought this edge being just softer would be nice. I mean, I don't intentionally touch the paint. I do end up with it all over myself sometimes. Yeah, that's nice. Okay. I'll come up with a better technique if I decide I want to do that a lot. So, toward the top of this, seeing just a little bit of the light catching. Try brushing that a little bit. Let's see if I can kind of smooth it out. I'll just do a little bit more of that. I like that. I like that effect though. coming out. I kind of like that technique of applying with the knife and then doing a little blending with the brush. Don't want to over blend it either. Put a little bit of blue in here because I saw it and I thought it would be a good addition. So just putting a couple of little blue puffs. I think I like where that is right now. Let's see. Yeah, I think I'll go back to my train for a little bit. I like most of it. I think I want to put the headlight details in and a little bit more work just to tighten this part up, and then notice that the cars are kind of leaning a little bit, so I'm going to just squish them up. You're not supposed to be leaning. I'd like to put a few highlights on it too. It might come naturally with the details. And just step back for a second just to see if the if I thought I was about done with wax, and I think I'm done with all these white waxes. I might do a little bit more with dark, but I think it's a safe time to clean this up a bit. Maybe I'll keep this off to the side, just in case. Sometimes that can be a handy thing to do. Okay. First thing I want to do is just mix up a little bit of a dark. This is mainly going to be to redefine this vertical edge here. To make it a bit straighter. This one here, I've got to go a little bit lighter. Take a little of this white wax and mix it in with some of this sort of dark green and go a little bit more green even. And just pop in here and tidy that up. Sometimes because the knives they're angled, even if I think I'm going straight vertical, I actually need to be tilted a little bit. There we go. That looks a little bit more upright. Okay. Do actually a little bit more of that to this car that's a little further back too. these to get too sharp. I do want them to kind of be fading in from the background. So I'm gonna take like a highlight color on the very top edge of them. That's gonna match the sky here. There we go. Just gonna help them blend in. Start from the back and do the same thing too. Just to kind of give that a feeling of the light coming from behind here. Okay. The lighting on this is kind of interesting. It's kind of, I think because it is such an overcast look, everything's really bright, and there aren't really strong shadows or really strongly lit pieces. Take a little bit of this and a little bit of blue. See about popping in a little highlight here too. Yeah, this edge here is probably one of the most prominent details. I want to have it be fairly crisp. Just picking up on a couple of these little edge details just starts to bring the whole thing into focus a little bit. I'll do a little bit of a similar thing with some red. Let's put these headlights on too. This one's almost off the side here. It's a little bit of an outline in order to show. Coming along, okay. I feel like maybe try scraping away a little bit of the snow here. Just to bring a little bit of darkness around this edge here. Kind of resculpting the snow as it seems like a good idea. this highlight here. It's another headlight type light. And sort of a shiny edge. On the steam pipe. Give it a little bit more definition. All these light blue highlights here, and the different castings and parts that might be sticking out. Looking pretty good. Okay. Putting this bumper in here nice and thick, like this. Also gives kind of that cast metal effect also. Catching a little bit of the marks I made previously here for some of this highlighting. And blending it in a couple spots where it's not quite working. Okay, there's a bit more. Okay. Do at the edge of these cars further back. We've got the white. So the white from this fog and snow kind of mixing with the yellow of the second, I guess, bottom color of these cars. Just trying to get that fade to show up right. Let's see. Don't really want this black in here. Scrape that out. Take another try at it. Okay. And then I'll go over that with a little bit more white. And kind of use the wax to keep the paint from mixing together too. So it kind of works like a sealer layer in a way. Something that I kind of figured out just through experimenting. I don't really know quite how to describe it, but if you try it, I think you'll get it. Here, I just want to bring a little bit more of this kind of white speckliness to it. Looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with the train now. Maybe this little dark edge could actually transition a little neater. A little bit. Bring some of these dark areas to the rails. Not entirely visible, but they do have that kind of smooth metal look. A little less apparent on this one, actually. I knew I shouldn't have touched that. Let's just take that out of there. I don't want that green. That's a little better. Okay. See, feeling pretty good about that. I think I want to bring just a few more dark tones back in. Mainly in this area here, with these grasses and the evergreens kind of a little closer than the ones in the far back, as well as like some of these shadows in here. I want to keep this pretty clean, but I think, yeah, just a few more points of contrast, maybe in some of these grasses too. would help. Yeah, I'm gonna bring out just a little bit more Viridian since that's getting down to the last little bit of it. And I think, yeah. Yeah, mainly the Viridian, maybe some of Halo too, actually. I think it's almost like it's a very dark blue-green right now that I'm seeing mostly. I don't think I actually want to keep it pretty vibrant, so I'm not gonna add any red to dull it. I'm just gonna go Viridian and Phthalo and see where I end up. And more Viridian. Okay. Let's try that. Works. Just building up a lot of different tones, really. Starts to create a lot of atmosphere. In a scene like this, it's actually pretty simple. It just has there's actually a lot of light in it. Want to mix in too much here. I'm gonna kind of layering over the wax a little bit. So I want to see how these things behave. But I think for the most part, I want to leave the white where I put it fairly clean. Just kind of work in a couple of dark areas. Mainly sort of at the bases of these trees. Like further up, they are getting more light from all the reflections. Try to make some smaller marks as I go back a little bit here, just showing that these branches are not quite as big up close. Pretty good for there. Let me even smooth this up a bit. Okay. So you start mixing in some of those. It's hard to take them back out afterwards. works though. A little bit shadow as it goes back. Right. Let's see. Just layer in a little bit more wax over that though. Didn't quite want that level of saturation right there. Pretty good. Let's see. Do just a little bit more of that. I even take a little bit of wax and mix it into this mixture for the little tree spots further back here. Don't want it to be quite as dramatic as these foreground ones, so this will dry a little bit more satin, whereas these darks will stay shinier. Okay, it's pretty good. I'm gonna do a little bit of burnt sienna, a little bit of this red that I had out, like that. Yeah, for some of these shapes here. I'm dragging this over the texture I already made. That's pretty good. Let's see. Maybe a little bit more of this blue even. Just kind of create some different shadows, different depth here. Putting in a little snow on these trees too. These ones are a bit further back. Can barely see them, but they've got a little bit of the same character as the ones up front, just further away. Bring a little bit more snow and white to this corner here. Right now it's just looking a little too warm, a little too dark. So, just trying to build that contrast a little bit. I think I'll probably not do another session on this one, but I think if I did, I could come back and do a little bit more white over this area with this part a bit more set up, but I think it might be good as is, honestly. I don't want it to be too overworked. Just kind of creating more layers in the snow. That's really all I'm trying to do. Okay, I think that's actually pretty good. all this multicolored snow. Is that it? Is that our snow painting? With the train? I think it might be. Let's see. Just gonna giving it a look over, seeing if there's anything else I wanna adjust. I think it's pretty good. Yeah, I think I like it. Let's see. Sometimes you know when it's done, and it's just done. So, and this one definitely had a lot of experiments in it. It was, I don't know, similar to some processes that I've done before, but sort of moved things around and did them in a little bit of a different order. I think I found some cool techniques within it. Techniques within it. I don't know why I'm tongue-tied today. But yeah, I think I found some good techniques within this one. Yeah, I like it. Well, I hope you have too. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you have a wonderful day or night or whatever you're off to next.